We are continuing our study in the Gospel of Matthew. In this next piece, we are going to be looking at Matthew chapter 4 and verse 13. I'm going to be reading from the New American Standard Bible. And leaving Nazareth, he, that is Jesus, came and settled in Capernaum, which is by the sea in the region of Zebulun and Naphtali. Galilee was the region or area in which much of Jesus' ministry takes place. To that, he chose the town of Capernaum as the center of his operations, the base of which he would operate out as he ministered in and through Galilee. Now notice right away, what's striking is he did not choose Sepphoris. I mentioned this in an earlier study. Sepphoris was the largest city in Galilee, so he did not choose the most important city in the region. Also note, because of Sepphoris, that there was a large number of Gentiles within the region of Galilee. But Jesus recognized from the very beginning that he was sent only to the lost sheep of Israel, and that is taken from Matthew 15:24 in the NIV. Jesus viewed his ministry as directed to the people of Israel in the Promised Land. Jesus, from the very beginning, has a sense of to whom his work was directed to. Now, I recognize this is a touchy issue in the church in some circles today. If you look at the whole of Jesus' ministry, it was not a case of him unable to reach beyond the Jews or the people of Galilee. It is rather that he chose to put limits on his work and focus, as it were, on one group of people. Sepphoris was the largest urban center in Galilee, and Jerusalem was bigger yet. In going to Capernaum, Jesus was going to a place that could not be expected to puff up his ministry. Jesus was content from the beginning not to ignore people, but recognize his limits. You see, it was not that Jesus was avoiding people of a certain cultural or ethnic or social status. He was realizing the limits of his ability and of his day and age. Jesus reached out, but Jesus also reached in. The key to the future of his work were the people he trained, be it the apostles or the women and men who followed him. Yes, there was a public side to his ministry, but it was in a sense the private side of his ministry that was the more important. Numbers in the church and in the ministry can look impressive, but the numbers also can be fluff. When Jesus was killed and entombed, those who remained faithful were few. Jesus did not get trapped in the numbers game. The few he left behind, well, they would take the church forward. Nazareth was the hometown of Jesus. I think it does not take a whole lot of thinking on this to understand why Jesus might not want to use Nazareth as a base of operations. And growing up in a smaller community, we are seen and perceived in certain ways, and for better or worse, we will probably never really grow out of that initial understanding as we age. Here is a bit of conjecture. Were there still people around in Nazareth who remembered the irregularity of Jesus' birth? I'm not saying Jesus was ashamed, rather that he might have seen that being an unnecessary and unneedful distraction for his ministry. Jesus, like a lot of us, left his hometown because it would give him a clean slate. He would be far more readily be seen for who he was than what he was. To this point, we have not asked if there was a reason why Jesus chose Capernaum. I do not think there was any real reason for this choice, and yet you can see I'm giving you, in a way, reasons for this choice. Reasons that may not be out in front, obvious, or for that matter, drawn up on a list. Jesus saw that in the light of the need to work in Galilee, the lack of concern about numbers, and the need to get away from home were the reasons Capernaum was chosen. To which I would add that being a fishing village on the Sea of Galilee means that this place had, by way of boats, good transportation links. Can we say definitively why Jesus ended up in Capernaum? The answer is no. But I think if you look at it, you can see and discern there are some well thought out plans at work here. Planning and knowing what you are dealing with and where you are going are keys to an effective ministry.